Leaving for Queen's College was harder than I expected. The night before my departure, Folake and I sat under the Iroko tree, making promises in the moonlight. "You'll come back for holidays?" she asked, picking at the bark of the tree. "Of course," I assured her, "and I'll write letters every week." "You'll probably make new friends and forget all about me," she said, her voice small. I grabbed her hands. "Never. You're my sister, Folake. No fancy school will change that." The next day, my parents took me to Lagos on a rickety bus. Queen's College was bigger than our entire neighborhood. Tall buildings with gleaming windows, perfectly cut grass, and girls in crisp uniforms walking with straight backs. I felt like a fish pulled from water, gasping in this new world where everyone seemed to know exactly what to do, except me. That first night, I cried silently in my bed, missing home, missing Folake. True to my word, I wrote letters every week, filling pages with stories about my new life, the strict teachers, the mountain of homework, the strange city foods. Folake's replies came less often and grew shorter as months passed. During my first holiday home, things felt different. Folake had new friends and inside jokes I didn't understand. She seemed both eager to hear about my school, yet irritated when I talked about it too much. "Must be nice," she said, when I described the library filled with more books than I could read in a lifetime. "Some of us have to make do with torn textbooks and teachers who barely show up." I didn't know how to respond. I hadn't chosen the different paths our lives were taking. By my second year at Queen's College, I was thriving. My grades put me at the top of my class, and teachers spoke of university scholarships in my future. Meanwhile, Folake struggled at the local secondary school, her letters now rare and filled with complaints. When I returned home that Christmas, she had changed again. Wearing makeup, her uniform skirt shortened dangerously high. She had a boyfriend now, a boy with a motorcycle and no plans beyond next weekend. "Not everyone needs to bury their nose in books to be happy," she snapped when I asked about her falling grades. "We can't all be perfect, Aduke." The way she said my name, like it was something bitter on her tongue, made my heart ache. What had happened to the girl who once drew us together on my cast, promising forever? In our final year of secondary school, I applied to the University of Ibadan to study engineering. My teachers helped prepare my application, certain I would receive another scholarship. During the Easter holiday, I returned home to find Folake waiting at the bus stop, her face alight with excitement for the first time in years. "I'm applying to university too," she announced as we walked home. "UI, just like you." Joy bubbled through me. "That's wonderful. What will you study?" "Business administration," she said proudly. "My grades aren't good enough for engineering, but I think I can get into business. We could be together again." For a moment, it felt like old times, planning our futures together, sharing dreams. I helped her complete her application, carefully explaining each section. We submitted them together at the post office, holding hands as the clerk stamped the envelopes. "Together again," she whispered, squeezing my fingers. 3 months later, my acceptance letter arrived with another full scholarship. I called Folake immediately. "Did you hear from UI?" I asked, barely containing my excitement. The silence on the other end stretched too long. "No," she finally said. "I didn't get in." My joy deflated. "I'm so sorry, Folake. Maybe there was a mistake?" "We could ask." "There's no mistake," she interrupted, her voice hard. "They don't make mistakes about people like me. Only special people like you get those chances." Before I could respond, she hung up. When I went to her house, her mother said she had gone to stay with an aunt in Ibadan and wouldn't be back for weeks. I left for university with a heavy heart, wondering if our friendship could survive these repeated separations. I didn't know then that Folake had also gone to Ibadan, not to stay with an aunt, but to find other ways into the university system. 2 weeks into my first term, I was studying in the library when someone dropped into the chair across from me. "Surprise," said a familiar voice. I looked up to see Folake, dressed in the same university uniform as me, a student ID card dangling from her neck. "Folake, how?" She leaned forward, her smile triumphant. "Diploma program. It's not the regular admission, but it gets me in the door. And look," she showed me her schedule. "We have 2 general courses together." I was speechless with happiness. Against all odds, we were together again. We'll get a place off campus next term, she said, already planning. Just like we always talked about. Roommates at last. I nodded eagerly, ignoring the small voice inside that whispered, "Be careful what you wish for." Folktales, and I found a small apartment near campus. Just one bedroom with a tiny kitchen, unreliable electricity, and a bathroom we shared with the tenant next door. It wasn't much, but it was ours, and for the first time since childhood, we were truly sharing our daily lives again. Those early days felt magical. We cooked simple meals together, studied by candlelight during power outages, and stayed up late talking about our dreams. I would help Folktales with her assignments, and she would drag me to campus parties I would otherwise have skipped. "You work too hard," she would insist, picking out clothes for me to wear. "University isn't just about books." She was right in her way. With Folktales, I learned to step outside my comfortable world of equations and theories. I discovered I could enjoy dancing and making new friends. But there were tensions, too. My scholarship covered my fees and provided a small allowance, while Folktales' parents struggled to pay her diploma program costs. I never mentioned money, but Folktales brought it up often. "Must be nice not worrying about fees," she might say as I studied. Or, "Some of us have to work while studying, you know?" I offered to help, but my offers only seemed to make her angrier. "I don't need your charity," she would snap, though she didn't hesitate to borrow my clothes, use my textbooks, or eat food I had bought. As our second year began, the differences in our academic performances became impossible to ignore. My name appeared on the dean's list while Folktales was placed on academic probation. I offered to help her study more, but she began staying out later, returning to our apartment smelling of cigarettes and palm wine. "Why bother?" she said, when I expressed concern about her grades. "We already know how this story ends. Aduke succeeds, Folktales fails. It's been written since primary school." "That's not true," I protested. "You're smart, Folktales. You just need to apply yourself." She laughed bitterly. "Apply myself? Like it's that simple? Some people are just born lucky, Aduke. The rest of us have to fight for scraps." I didn't know how to bridge this growing gap between us. I loved my studies and was excited about my future, but every success seemed to drive another wedge between me and my oldest friend. Then came the news that changed everything. My engineering professor nominated me for an internship at Oil Nigeria, Nigeria's biggest petroleum company. It was a prestigious opportunity that often led to job offers after graduation. When I told Folktales, her reaction surprised me. Instead of the resentment I had come to expect, she hugged me tightly. "This is perfect," she exclaimed. "You'll get your foot in the door and then you can help me get in too. Oil Nigeria hires business graduates for administration, right?" I suppose they do," I said, caught off guard by her enthusiasm. "Then it's settled. You'll go first and bring me along after." Just like we always promised, never leaving each other behind. Her sudden support felt like sunshine after a long rain. I threw myself into preparing for the internship interview, and Folktales helped by quizzing me on potential questions and even ironing my best dress. The day I received the acceptance letter, we celebrated with splurges we couldn't afford. A meal at a real restaurant and a bottle of sweet wine. As we walked home arm in arm, slightly tipsy and laughing under the stars, I felt we had finally found our balance again. "To Aduke," Folktales toasted, raising her last sip of wine. "Today, Oil Nigeria. Tomorrow, the world." "To us," I corrected, clinking my glass against hers. "Together." "Together," she echoed, but something flickered in her eyes, something I chose not to see. My internship at Oil Nigeria's Lagos headquarters opened a new world to me. The gleaming office tower with its air-conditioned hallways and computers on every desk made university feel like ancient history. I was assigned to the engineering department, helping design an inventory tracking system for equipment across Nigeria's oil fields. My supervisor, Mr. Ogun B. Yi, quickly recognized my skills. "You have a gift for systems thinking," he told me after I identified a flaw in the existing tracking method. "Keep this up and we'll make sure you have a place here after graduation." I worked harder than I ever had before, arriving early and staying late. On weekends, I would return to Ibadan, bringing small treats for Folktales, chocolate imported from England, a pretty scarf, fashion magazines from the Legos shopping malls. At first, she seemed genuinely happy for me, eager to hear about my work and the people I was meeting. But as weeks passed, her questions took on a different tone. Do they have other interns there, she would ask? Any from business programs? Have you mentioned me to your supervisor yet? Did you tell them you have a friend graduating next year in business administration? The pressure became constant. Each time I returned to our apartment before I could even put down my bag, Folake would ask, "Did you recommend me yet?" Truth was, I hadn't. Not because I didn't want to help her, but because I was still proving myself. I didn't feel I had earned the right to make recommendations. I need to establish myself first, I explained. Mr. Ogun B. Yi barely knows me. He knows you well enough to praise your work, she countered. You're just making excuses. Perhaps she was right. Was I hesitating because I didn't believe in her abilities? Or was I secretly enjoying having something she didn't have? Something that was just mine. 3 months into my internship during a team meeting, an opportunity finally presented itself. We need to update our filing system in administration, one manager complained. We can't find documents when we need them. What about bringing in an intern to reorganize it? I suggested, heart pounding. I actually know someone studying business administration who would be perfect for this. The manager looked interested. Have them send a CV. We could use the help. That evening, I called Folake with the news. She screamed so loudly I had to hold the phone away from my ear. I knew you'd come through, she exclaimed. We'll be together in Legos at last. 2 weeks later, Folake arrived for her interview. I hardly recognized the woman who stepped into the Oil Ninja lobby. Gone was the party girl with the short skirts and loud laugh. In her place stood someone in a modest suit, hair pulled back neatly, wearing minimal makeup. She had transformed herself into what she thought Oil Ninja wanted, or perhaps into a version of me. The interview went well, and Folake was offered a part-time internship in administration while she completed her final year of studies. We celebrated that night, but as I watched her plan her future at Oil Ninja, a strange unease settled in my stomach. We're going to take over that company, she declared, eyes shining after too many drinks. The dynamic duo, just like we always planned. Yes, I agreed, forcing a smile. Together. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something fundamental had shifted between us, something beyond the usual jealousy and competition. I caught Folake watching me when she thought I wasn't looking, her expression calculating in a way that sent chills down my spine. That night, I dreamed of the Iroko tree from our childhood. In the dream, Folake and I were children again, playing beneath its branches. But when I looked up, the leaves had all turned black, and sap dripping from the bark looked disturbingly like blood. I woke gasping, my heart racing. Beside me, Folake slept peacefully, her face innocent in the moonlight filtering through our window. Just a nightmare, I whispered to myself. I didn't know then that the real nightmare was only beginning.
If you're eager to see how this story unfolds, please subscribe and let us know in the comments below. Type continue to see episode 3. Your feedback will help shape future videos on this channel.